Unit 3, Recording 8. A.
Reporting live from outside the courthouse in Swindon is our reporter Deborah Manning.
Thank you, Jackie. Judge Mark Horton handed down suspended sentences of 11 months in jail each to Amanda and Michael Stacey today, following a trial in which the couple were found guilty of fraud and theft. The charges related to an incident 9 months ago when Amanda found a lottery ticket on the floor of her local Co-op supermarket. Amanda and her husband claimed the £30,000 prize when the ticket won. Unfortunately for them, the real owner of the ticket, Dorothy McDonough, realised that she had lost the ticket and immediately informed the police. At the trial, it emerged that the Staceys had already spent half the money. The judge ordered them to repay the remaining £15,000 to Mrs. McDonough, along with £111 interest. He did not, however, order them to repay the £15,000 they had already spent, instead just imposing a £5 fine. Mrs. McDonough will have to take the Staceys to court to get that money, and after legal fees, it is doubtful that she would see much of it. Back to you, Jackie.
B.
Now, Robin, I believe you have a further update on the Leon Walker story.
That's right, Greg. Leon Walker, you'll remember, was the man from Rochester Hills in Michigan who was charged back in 2010 with hacking into his wife's email account. He maintained his innocence, but his wife, Clara, went on television to talk about how violated she had felt. Well, Greg, 2 years after Leon was charged and right before he was due to go on trial, prosecutors have unexpectedly dropped the charges against Leon. And the reason? It turns out that Clara had been reading her husband's text messages while they were still married and had admitted to this in an email. Leon described himself as relieved but angry.
Astonishing news. Now, over to our sports desk where Jamie has some news about David Beckham and...
C.
And I have our science correspondent, Robert Walsh, here in the studio with me. Robert, before we catch up on all the latest developments in the world of science, can you tell me what happened to Richard Handel?
Yes, absolutely, Don. Well, as our listeners probably remember, Richard Handel was the man who tried to set up a mini nuclear reactor in his kitchen. Using radioactive materials that he'd bought, Mr. Handel attempted to split the atom, and he posted the results online, along with the now famous picture of his cooker after the experiment.
Yes, I remember that.
Of course, when the police were alerted to what Mr. Handel was doing, they confiscated all his nuclear material and his computer. Mr. Handel faced the prospect of up to 2 years in prison. So, as you say, Don, what has happened to him? Well, the answer is absolutely nothing. Since they confiscated his radioactive material several months ago, neither the police nor the Swedish Radiation Authority have been in touch. So it looks like Mr. Handel won't be prosecuted after all.
Well, that's good news for amateur scientists, I guess. Now, on to this week's other science stories, Rob.